Welcome to Cosmic Diaries. This is Priya Kali, your astrologer, and welcome to another brand new week in the sky and here on Earth. So, we're entering a new moon week. We're looking at the astrology for September 2nd to September 8th, and this week starts off with the new moon, a very powerful new moon in Virgo, bringing sudden, unexpected shifts, clearing out, wiping the slate clean as we enter this eclipse season officially. And the planets are fairly active this week. Mars is square Neptune, and then will change signs to enter Cancer, bringing a significant shift in the energy. Also, this week, Mercury squares Uranus for the third time in its final shadow phase. So, this is unraveling an ongoing story that's been playing out since the 21st of July. And then finally, at the end of the week, the Sun opposes Saturn, marking another milestone, bringing a progression in events from what unfolded at the full moon in Aquarius on the 19th of August. So, there's a lot going on this week. The planets are keeping us busy, and life is certainly shifting. So, I'm going to dive into the aspects day by day and see how this all plays out for us. Before I begin, a huge thank you for everyone who's here and listening. I appreciate you being here. And of course, everybody who's recently signed up to the channel and who's a subscriber to the channel and listening, and anyone who's new here listening as well. I appreciate your support, and I hope you stick around and subscribe because it helps me a lot as I build a channel. So, and it'll help me to keep bringing you more audios and videos. And of course, if anyone is looking for a personal astrology consultation, I'll leave information for that below. I do also have a natal chart immersive program that I work with a select number of clients due to time constraints in monthly sessions over a period of a year for a deep dive into your natal chart and the astrology as it happens, for an immersive experiential experience to really understand how your natal chart works and the astrology works. And you don't need to be an astrologer, but understanding your own chart is a powerful and, in my opinion, one of the greatest tools we have for self-awareness, self-understanding, and in being able to live our lives more consciously and being able to create our lives more consciously. So if anyone's interested in that, email me and we can set that up. Naturally, given again time constraints, I'll be working with you on a first come first serve basis. So if you're interested, do write to me as soon as possible. But with that, I'm just going to start, or rather dive into the astrology for the week, because there is a lot to look at here. If you haven't listened to last week's audio, I would recommend that you please listen to it, because on the 1st of September, Uranus changes direction, goes retrograde, and Pluto re-enters Capricorn for the final time in our lifetimes until the 19th of November. It would help to look back at what was unfolding in January. Those storylines, and situations are kind of coming back up for reevaluation. We're entering a brand new cycle while also wrapping up unfinished business as we enter this new chapter in our lives. And on the 2nd of September, the new moon in Virgo takes place at 9:55 p.m. here in New York, 11 plus degrees of Virgo. So if you have planets around 11 degrees of Virgo or 11 degrees of the mutable signs, which is Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, you're going to feel this energy more potently personally. But regardless of what sign you are and where your planets are, depending on where you have Virgo in your chart, the house ruled by Virgo, matters of that house are being highlighted now over this new cycle. And this is a whole new beginning. It's a chance to leave the past behind and plant new seeds. Significantly, this new moon also leads up to the Pisces full moon on the 17th of September. And that full moon is going to be an eclipse in Pisces, and it's the first of a series of eclipses in Virgo and Pisces as the nodes slowly transition to this axis over the next couple of years. So what comes up at the time of the eclipse 2 weeks from now on the 17th is essentially setting the stage for the next couple of years of our life and bringing us the first glimpse into the future, which is why this new moon is really important, because this new moon now is when we're planting the seeds that will fully come to light and blossom by the time the full moon. So pay attention to what's unfolding now and move in awareness and plant your seeds in awareness. Virgo is the sign that speaks of our health and healing on all levels, mind, body, spirit. It, on a mundane level, it also speaks of getting organized and all our daily processes and habits and daily routines. Virgo represents that daily process of growth and reminds us that this is the school of life that we're in. And as we live, we learn, we grow. So, whatever the past has been like now, there are no mistakes. Mercury is now direct and in its final shadow phase. So, we're seeing the recent and distant past in a new light now. And even what we may have considered to be mistakes, hopefully we can see now that these were lessons that we had to learn and we couldn't have possibly learned in another way. And for better or worse, our experiences have taught us something and we've grown from them. So moving ahead now, we're entering this whole new cycle of growth. And whatever you initiate now, there's going to be a need for us to nurture that daily. Then you can reap a bountiful harvest. And Virgo speaks of the harvest. So, and we're going to be moving to the harvest moon. So sow your seeds wisely as you enter this new cycle. Virgo energy is also it's mercurial energy. So over the next few weeks, yes, this is a great time to really get life working for you, especially where you have Virgo in your chart. But it does start with the self, which means making sure that you're eating well, getting plenty of rest, exercise, as well as cultivating some spiritual routine or daily meditation practice or yoga practice, anything that aligns you with your soul, your mind, body, and soul, brings them into alignment. Virgo is the sign that's opposite Pisces. So if Pisces is a sign that speaks of cosmic consciousness, Virgo is the vessel, the earthly, it's an earth sign. And it reminds us that the body ultimately is a vessel for spirit and for a divine consciousness. And the more we can get out of the way and get the ego out of the way, because Leo rules the ego and Virgo is the sign that comes after Leo. So we've progressed from our egotistical nature now, at least on the zodiac wheel. And now we're learning lessons of selflessness and teamwork and healing and giving to something that's a greater cause, which means at times that there will be a need for sacrifices. But that doesn't mean we have to be a martyr in any sense. But recognizing the dedication and time and devotion it takes towards nurturing something to life that we care about. And Virgo speaks of the details, the little things, and reminds us that the little things add up to big things. So pay attention to where you focus your energy, seek solutions, seek healing, avoid seeking perfection or looking for the flaws in a situation or the problems, because there's always problems. That said, acknowledge what isn't working as you move forward, so then you can find those solutions and make different choices, because now Mercury is direct and we're seeing solutions and new ways forward where we previously didn't. Pluto is back in Capricorn. We have a chance to let go of conditioning that prevents us and slows down our progress. And in doing that, we can also reclaim our power and authority in our life to make decisions that work for us. Seeding the energy of the new moon on the 3rd of September, Mars makes an exact square to Neptune just before Mars leaves Gemini to enter Cancer on the 4th of September. So the 3rd of September, this is Mars's final day in Gemini. Mars entered Gemini on the 20th of July. So you may want to look back at what was going on at the time, but now we're at the end of this transit and the moon makes an opposition to Saturn and Jupiter. But before that, Mars makes a square to Neptune. Mars is at 29 Gemini, Neptune is at 29 Pisces. There are important choices arising now and we're juggling a lot. So it's important that we're also keeping the big picture in mind, having faith in the journey, and being wise and non-judgmental about what's unfolding. stay focused on your most optimistic vision, then you can make conscious choices towards them. We're at a turning point, but if something feels nebulous or like a hall of mirrors, then move inward, try to get your energy centered rather than seeking answers outside of yourself. All the answers that you need are already within you. It's a matter of getting aligned with our own energy and having faith in our own decisions and choices and being true to ourselves above all. Everything is possible, and there are many ways to go about something. With the moon opposite Saturn and then square Jupiter, what matters is us being aligned with our goals and our long term plans, ambitions, as well as our integrity. And then having faith that if we can take things a step at a time, a day at a time, then more will be revealed to us and the next steps will be revealed to us. Virgo represents a daily process, and we're in the process of materializing a dream or a vision that we have for our life. But as cliche as it is, Rome wasn't built in a day. And with Pluto back in Capricorn at this time with the new moon, it's like we're dismantling old structures, or rather clearing away the debris of the past as we consciously reshape our lives and strengthen foundations for the future moving ahead. So just move slowly with this process, take things a day at a time, because then on the 4th of September, the moon is still continues to move through Virgo for the first half of the day in New York. It'll trine Uranus, oppose Neptune, square Mars, and then finally trine Pluto. So it's a busy morning. Of course, depending on where you are, take a look at your timing and time zone. But this energy can be very productive. Just be conscious of what you're initiating, what seeds you're planting, and what you're nurturing, because this will grow as the moon grows. And we're heading to that eclipse on the 17th of September. Feed your attention where it's constructive, healthy. Pay attention to your routines and all the little things that you're implementing now that will help simplify your life and get it running more smoothly for you. The moon enters Libra at 12:12 p.m. on the 4th of September in New York. And the moon will continue to move through Libra on the 5th of September, 6th of September, and then on the 7th, the moon enters Scorpio. So on the 4th, 5th, and 6th, as the moon moves through Libra, there's a need for balance. Our relationships are in focus. And the moon is making easy aspects. It will conjunct Venus on the 5th, trine Jupiter and Mercury on the 6th. So there's really a sense of us finding peace and harmony in our connections, but this begins with us finding peace within ourselves. Because very significantly on the 4th of September, which I didn't even get into, Mars enters Cancer. Mars will be in Cancer for quite a while now. It's going to be in Cancer all through September. And then in October, Mars will enter shadow phase while still in Cancer. Mars stations retrograde in Leo in December. And then will retrograde back into Cancer, station direct in February, then move back out of Cancer into Leo and out of shadow. So get used to this energy. And that's why on the 4th of September, once the moon enters Libra and Mars will enter Cancer soon after, find your sea legs. There's a need for balance and to be really honest about ourselves and how we're feeling and to find that inner peace so we can find balance in our connections with others. Because if we're not feeling emotionally balanced, then there's no way we're going to find that harmony with others. Mars is not comfortable in Cancer. So this is not the easiest placement for Mars. Think of Cancer being a water sign and Mars is a hot, fiery planet. So there's many ways to look at this. It's like trying to run underwater. With awareness, we can cook a delicious meal, but if we're not paying attention, then we could set the house on fire, or too much water could have something fizzle out. So it's water being our emotions. So there's a need for self-awareness. Mars speaks of the self primarily, right? So there's a need for self-awareness and how we express our emotions, how we channel our emotions. We all have the ability to feel all the emotions. This is what makes us human, and this is what connects us and allows us to have empathy for someone else, even if we aren't exactly facing the same circumstances. So a little sensitivity will go a long way. Cancer speaks of our needs, our emotional needs, our needs for security on a material level, and needs for nourishment. At best, we are interdependent in our connections. But if we start holding on to expectations of others to fulfill our needs, then resentment builds. And then situations get out of balance, or we create codependencies. So, at best, while Mars is in Cancer, flow with this energy. And if you find yourself feeling emotional about something, then find a way to consciously release your emotions, or at least come back into a sense of balance within yourself before you react to anything. With Mars, it's about being and acting with self awareness rather than reaction. Ultimately, our emotions are our own emotions, and no matter who or what triggers them, whether it's joy or sadness, it's still our emotions, and this is a chance for us to, or rather, we're learning how to emotionally regulate ourselves. The fourth, Mars enters Cancer, fifth, sixth, this is us moving through that process of learning how to emotionally regulate and find a balance in this new climate and new territory that we're entering with Mars and Cancer, giving us access to deep, passionate emotions, even heated emotions, perhaps. So there are deep passions arising, and perhaps if there is any anger or pain or sadness, release it consciously. And with the moon in Libra, as it connects with Venus on the 5th of September, really connect with your heart. Then you can find sweetness with others, and there could be relationships are deepening now and budding and blossoming. Just pay attention to what you're nurturing, and there'll always be things that will annoy you and irritate you, and life will always have its challenges. But this is about us learning how to focus our energy in a constructive way so we can channel our emotions into what really brings us a sense of joy and fulfillment and pleasure and love and well-being at the end of the day. So that's the fifth, the moon meets Venus, and it's a really sweet day. The energy is creative, romantic, loving, inspiring. There may even be important choices arising or surrounding our relationships and even financial matters. Be true to yourself and your values, then you can make conscious choices. On the 6th of September, Moon trines Jupiter and Mercury, sextiles Mercury. We're having conversations, look at the big picture, communicate honestly and from the heart, and listen to what's being said. We're learning information now that can finally bring us to a breakthrough into realizing something that we've been trying to wrap our heads around for a while now, since probably the 21st of July. Because on the 7th of September, Mercury squares Uranus for the third and final time in this series. The first square between Mercury and Uranus took place on the 21st of July. At the time, both planets were direct. Mercury was in Leo, Uranus in Taurus. The next square took place on the 19th of August. At the time, Mercury was retrograde and Uranus was direct. And now this final square takes place on the 7th of September when Uranus is retrograde and Mercury is direct. So it would help to look back at what's unfolding on the 21st of July and then on the 19th of August. Because now this is this final turning point. We're reaching a breakthrough in communication, awakening us to a new understanding within ourselves and the possibilities, and we're seeing new solutions and ways forward. Also on the 7th of September, the moon enters Scorpio. So we're really piercing the veil, and trust your intuition at this time as well. Relationships are deepening powerfully, so are our financial involvements, and really life. We're reaching an important threshold, because on the 8th of September, the sun in Virgo opposes Saturn. At the time, the Scorpio moon will trine Saturn, and then later the moon will sextile the sun. So this is beautiful. This really just feels like a rich, enriching, deepening of our lives. With the sun now opposite Saturn, we're reaching a milestone, but this is a progression of situations that have begun to evolve already, because Venus made an opposition to Saturn at the time of the Aquarius full moon on the 19th of August. So relationships and financial matters were moving over a threshold at the time, and creative projects as well. Now, with the sun moving opposite Saturn, we're crystallizing what was then just coming to light. This is us committing to our goals and taking stock of where we're at in our journey so we can consciously leave the past behind and step wholly into this new chapter that we're entering. And there are doors that are opening and closing. What matters is that you're being aligned and true to yourself and your integrity. Saturn is the planet of time, so there's an element of divine timing that's in play here with whatever you're trying to build. And we're building a dream, we're materializing a dream in the process of, perhaps in the process of materializing our dream life. And in a sense, this begins with realizing we're already living the dream. And if you're not enjoying this life or any aspect of it, Saturn represents boundaries. So it's time to reflect on our boundaries and our limits and the walls that we're taking down so we can allow in more of the abundance and joy and pleasure into our worlds. Build a life that really brings us a deeper sense of meaning and purpose daily, as well as look at the walls, look at the past that you're leaving behind so you don't continue to drain your energy into something that's obviously not working. It's time to redirect our efforts and be constructive with our efforts so we can commit our energy to our goals and materializing those goals with by taking daily necessary steps. The sun in Virgo is speaking of that daily process. So, but we are moving over a threshold, and if we can commit to something, then we can materialize a dream. It will just take time, love, patience, dedication, devotion, and nurturing what we're building. And the moon in Scorpio trine Saturn and sextile the sun, there really is that sense of us, what may previously have felt like an obstacle or a wall or something that was impenetrable is now we're seeing new ways forward. A door is opening, which was perhaps locked in the past, and there is help and support close at hand. It may mean us being humble enough to ask for the help that we need. Just let go of expectations of where this help comes from and have faith that the universe is always listening. But the 8th of September really brings us that sense of, yeah, we may be learning bittersweet lessons, but in that there's growth and there's maturity, and we're able to let go of emotional baggage now as we learn our lessons and consciously leave the past behind so it doesn't weigh us down and weigh down our progress. So that brings us to the end of this week. And as you can see, there is a lot that's happening, but there's a sense of gentle growth and being able to recognize that life always has its challenges. What matters is how we're surfing and riding those waves. And with Mars being in Cancer, I will add once again, for the coming month of September, think of this as a process of really being able to, or learning how to channel our emotions with awareness so we can pour our energy and feed our attention where it matters most to us to get things really cooking and moving rather than tearing something down that we're now trying to build. So with Mars and Cancer, just that self-awareness is called for in terms of our emotions because they're very powerful right now. So a quick recap before I get off here. The moon, we're entering the week on the 2nd of September with the new moon in Virgo. This is a new beginning. Virgo represents our daily processes, so take things a day at a time. Get organized on all levels. Pay attention to your health, healing, introduce healthier habits, and be constructive as you move through this week and into this new cycle. Because we are in the process of building a whole new life now and reshaping our lives so it aligns more with our inner reality and our goals and our future. And this is a chance to strengthen the foundation. On the 3rd of September, Mars squares Neptune. Stay inwardly focused. We're seeing many ways forward in situations. Be true to yourself and your integrity, then you can make wise, conscious choices while keeping the big picture in mind. The 4th of September, the moon is moving from Virgo into Libra and Mars enters Cancer. There are important choices arising, and if there is a sense of urgency in the air now, take a deep breath rather than rush anything. Haste makes waste kind of a thing. Be present, then you can make conscious choices. Once Mars enters Cancer, Mars is going to be in Cancer all through September. The moon is in Libra at this time. Find your sea legs, stay balanced, then you can find balance and be creative in your life around you and deepen important connections. On the 7th of September, Mercury squares Uranus. We're reaching a breakthrough in our communications. We may be having a burst of inspiration, sudden ideas, sudden realizations coming through. But on the whole, this feels very liberating, freeing us from our own mental limitations and beliefs that hold us back. And then on the 8th of September, the Sun opposes Saturn, bringing us to a milestone and moving us over an important threshold in our lives. So get aligned with your goals, your integrity, be humble. There's a need for maturity. And we're realizing that a dream is very much within reach. What matters is our commitment to it. Then, with dedication, devotion, love, daily love, care, we can materialize a vision now. So, it's a very productive week, it's a healing week, and there's a real sense of making progress this week, allowing us to nurture our lives and invite in greater pleasure and abundance and prosperity, even. Just be conscious to not get sidetracked with things that aren't important and with the past that you're leaving behind. Then you can make the most of this energy. Of course, if you want a deeper look into your chart, I would love to work with you. Do email me at priya@cosmicdiaries.com. Lastly, I will say this new moon leads up to the Pisces full moon and lunar eclipse on the 17th of September. So I'll have more to say about that next week. But this Pisces lunar eclipse is the first in a series of eclipses that will align over the next couple of years. So the areas of our life ruled by Virgo and Pisces are going through a rapid transformation. Our lives are changing on a very deep and profound level. We're in a process of reaching for our dreams, but there's also another process of waking up from our illusions, as well as releasing any sense of disillusionment from the past, so we can start to recognize a more rich, abundant, fertile reality and find a deeper sense of fulfillment and meaning in our own lives, and a deeper sense of purpose and feeling rewarded at the end of each day, rather than waiting and expecting some reward in some distant future, which we may not even live to see. We may or may not live to see. So, as you move through this Virgo New Moon cycle and Virgo season, it's a reminder to be grateful for the little pleasures in life and to be grateful for this life itself and each day that we've been given, because we never know how long we have here. What matters is how we connect with everybody that we meet, and our ability to be an empty vessel for a higher divine spirit that flows through us. Virgo is the sign that speaks of selflessness and teamwork and giving to a greater cause. So if you're ever feeling shitty about your own life, recognize there are people who are much less fortunate than you and me, and in giving we receive. So when we're feeling empty, the best thing we can do is give to someone else. And I don't mean that in a way of being a martyr, but in taking our mind off of our own little petty problems, we can step into a role that allows us to be a part of the solution. And healing always happens both ways. So anyway, I'll stop going on here right now. But thank you as always for listening. And if you're still here, a huge thank you. And please do remember to subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back with you again next week, and actually sooner with the September forecast. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be notified. And I'll check back with you very soon. Thanks for listening. Sending all my love with the moon wherever you are. Bye for now. Namaste.